Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Goffstown High School. I'd like to welcome the folks from Windham High School as well, the Windham Jaguars. And today is Senior Day, and we have two Goffstown seniors and one Windham senior, and we'd like to acknowledge them. So first, let's acknowledge Windham's only senior. Actually, there's two, but only one is here today, and that is number 13, Renee Boudreau. Congratulations, Renee. And the other senior, and I'll mention her name, she's not here today, and that is number 11, Kelsey Samatoro. All right, I'd like to start off by welcoming Michelle and David Vermette to the pitching circle, please. And I guess David is not here yet. Now, as is tradition here at Goffstown High School, we have a player who's graduating. That's Danny Vermette. And Danny, this year, Kaylee wrote a little novel about you. I guess you meant a lot to her. So I'm going to read that. Danny Vermette, in other words, the most intelligent, ambitious, considerate, and diligent person I have ever known. Ever since I was a freshman, I looked up to you, and not just because you were older than me, but because of the way you held yourself and the way you treated others with extreme respect and care. You are so determined and such a great leader. Your future is going to be full of success and happiness. You are the one person I know that through everything you go through, you still remain calm and strong. Your actions speak louder than words, and everyone can clearly see how much of an amazing athlete, teammate, and person you are. As you go off in various directions, everyone on the team and I will remember what you did for us. So this was just a small thanks for everything you've done for this team, this sport, and me. You have become one of my close friends and still have remained a role model to me. Your dedication and love is so admirable, and it makes me sad to know this season is the last one I will play beside you. I wish you the best of luck in everything your future holds, Danny. You deserve it. Love, no matter where life takes us, Kaylee. So let's hear it for Danny Vermette. And Danny is headed off to St. Joseph's College in Maine, and she will be studying nursing. She'll be taking care of Brad in a couple of years, so that's good.
Thank you.
And now if I could have David and Kathleen Lendry come into the pitching circle. And unfortunately, Justine Watterson is a shortstop for Goffstown. She wrote something about Kara, but Justine went home sick today. So it's probably appropriate that I'm here reading it. Okay, so here we go, Kara. Over the years, we've gotten on each other's nerves. We've had a lot of good laughs, and in the end, we've become incredible friends. Your future is very bright, and I hope you know that. SNHU will definitely have their hands full with you on their campus, and their softball team will be great with you on their field. I'm going to miss these years spending time with you on the field, getting ice cream, and eating at Cafe Lorraine, which I think is on Elm Street, Kara, in Manchester. Is that about right? Okay. These years have brought me some of the best memories I could have ever had, and I'm sure there'll be many more. Good luck in college. The Goffstown softball team is losing a fantastic player from their program. Love you, Justine. So let's hear it for Kara Lendry, who is heading off to SNU in the fall. good afternoon, everyone. My name is Scott Gross, and I'm joined by Bill Ruel. And Bill, you didn't see this, but I was looking over our cameraman Butch Gifford's shoulder when he was zooming in on the flag, and it was waving in the wind, and it was really something kind of nice, you know. So nice job, Butch, capturing that. We don't often get a breeze here in Goffstown, but today it's just a gorgeous day, probably mid to high 70s, and the wind is kind of blowing out. So let's see if there's any home run balls today as Goffstown's about to take the field. So just to give a little bit of a status update, Bill, we've got shortstop Justine Watterson out. She's sick today. And Tegan Coyle, the second baseman, will be playing short. And in her place will be Bree Page. So we've got a lot of different players today in different spots.
And you know, these next two games are very important for Goffstown to get a good seeding.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt. Goffstown's going to make the playoffs no matter what. Whether they win any of these last two games, they're making the playoffs. But you're absolutely right. What seed they get will largely be determined by if they can win these next two games. And they're going to have their hands full with both Windham in this game and Sauhegan in the next game. Both possess winning records. And when you look at the head-to-heads, we've had pretty comparable results with the head-to-head competition. So if we're going to kind of go around the horn if we could. So playing, we'll start off at first base will be Kaylee Mullen. Second base is number 14, Bree Page. The shortstop is going to be Tegan. And the third baseman is going to be Brennan. And let's go over to, left field is going to be Saya Sarvella, Lendry in center field, and Danny Vermette in right. Behind the plate is going to be Alex Page. And in the circle will be Shannon Gifford. So we are about to start the game. And the only senior that's here today is Renee Boudreau. We honored her before the game. She plays second base. She's leading off. And that's a first pitch strike for Shannon Gifford. So, again, I think both teams here have a lot to go shoot for because they want to win this game, no doubt about it. That's called strike two. Because you're right. I mean, there's a big difference. If you get stuck playing like a top seed like a Milford or a dangerous team like a St. Thomas with Abby Bass pitching, that's a changeup, and she misses that one.
Although I did look at St. Thomas's schedule, I think they have actually 4 more games to play, and of those, there's going to be 2 tough ones.
And Boudreau goes down swinging. So now the last game that Gifford pitched was that tough loss against John Stark, where she had 3-4 real strong innings, and then that 5th inning, just things kind of fell apart. And I think what happened was John Stark, they caught up to her fastball. I'm noticing now that Gifford is trying to change some things up. She threw an off-speed pitch, that third pitch to that last batter, Boudreau, and that's kind of what you need to do. She took a little off that one too. You got to vary the speeds a little bit, and we all know that Shannon has a great fastball. But in this Division II, when you play the top echelon teams, they're going to hit a fastball. Another really nice pitch for strike two.
I came by the other day, and she was working with the pitching coach and really trying to refine some of her pitches, really working on that changeup.
And she took a little off that one to even the count at 2-2. So they had a tough loss to John Stark, and then they played Milford, and they lost 2-1 to Milford on what was like a pass ball or a wild pitch or something. And she strikes out Lily McGinnis for the second out of the inning, and in steps Lindsey Murphy, the left fielder. So that tells me that, they're gonna ride Shannon, as a pitcher through the playoffs. It's a little bit high for a ball. And really, I think it's going to come down to, can this team hit? Can they hit?
Hit the good pitcher.
Correct. And that's where they've had their struggles. There's only about 3 or 4 batters who have really hit the fastballs, and that's an attempted bunt missed to even the count. So I think that's really that's going to be the determining factor for Goffstown is Can they get hits, and can they string together hits? That's the key. Because they do get them, but they don't always come when they're needed. So we got Brennan playing in at third and Mullen playing in at first.
Ooh.
And that pitch is high, 2-1 count. So they're looking for a bunt here from Lindsey Murphy. And that's high, 3-1 count. You know, you get a beautiful day like today. You know what I think about when you get a little wind like this? It's like, it's not only is it a great day, but the black flies don't like it. The mosquitoes, they don't like this type of wind. They can't fly in it. So you don't get bitten up.
Good pitch.
And that's a beautiful pitch by Gifford. I mean, that
right
was
on the
perfect. So now 3-2 count with 2 outs. And now puts number 4, Lindsey Murphy, in a defensive position. She's got to go for it here. And she strikes out the side. And she took a little bit off that one, too. You notice that? So we head into the bottom of the first inning. 3 Ks by Gifford, and that'll do it as Dave Hedge walks back to the Windham dugout. Now the key is, you know, can Goffstown, you know, get some key hits? And you're going to see Tegan Coyle leading off. So a couple different changes here. A little bit of a shakeup in the lineup. So for many of the games, it's been Kara Lendry leading off, and she struggled a bit in that top spot. So now we're going to have Tegan Coyle leading off. Gifford will be batting second, Brennan third, and then Mullen will be batting cleanup.
The other day at Milford, and it was a smart move. They walked Shannon 4 times in a row.
Really?
Intentional walk.
Yeah, but that's the Milford coach too.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to let somebody like Gifford
No.
beat you, you know. But that's where you got to have, you know, you got to have some hitters behind Gifford, you know, and you know, so that's where it puts pressure on Brennan and Mullen to get a timely hit, because if they're going to pitch around Gifford, then Brennan and Mullen and Alex Page, they're going to have to do some damage at the plate.
Now, I looked at this pitcher just warming up. I don't think she's that fast. Maybe she's got a rise ball or whatever, but she looked to be around the plate with each one of her pitches.
So in steps Tegan Coyle, who's had an all-around good year for Goffstown. She's played solid second base defensively. Today, she's playing shortstop, so she leads off.
Third baseman's in.
And that's inside to Coyle. And Tegan has surprisingly real good speed, too. So she can get down the line. And I like this move with her leading off. That second pitch is inside for a ball. That's 2 balls and no strikes to Coyle. And I like it because I think, you know, Tegan doesn't – she struggled the first couple of games, if you recall. But then after that, she's been lights out. She gets on base. And she hits a deep fly ball. That's going to be tough in the sun. And that ball hits the top of the fence. And Coyle gets a double. And she missed a home run by about a foot or two. And I don't know if Tegan has hit a home run, has she? She might have. But if not, that was about as close as that you're ever going to come. And the wind was blowing out. So that was like a pop-up. And it kept carrying and carrying and carrying. So now here comes Gifford. Let's see what they do with her. I mean, if the wind is truly blowing out, I mean, Gifford could maybe bunt it in the air and it could go out. She has that type of power. She's got a 1-0 count with Coyle on second. And that pitch is out high, and Coyle runs over to third, so she advances on a wild pitch. So now Tegan Coyle is 60 feet away from Goffstown's first run, and a 2-0 count. Oh, she chased a real high one there.
Oh, my gosh.
She's smiling, right, Bill? She kind of knew that. And she goes after another high one to even up the count 2-2. So what started off as a 2-0 count, Abby Bedient has now evened it out, and Coyle is on third here. And that is now goes to a full count. So had not Gifford chased a couple of toughies, that she'd be on base right now.
Probably at second,
and she'd
too.
be at second. So again, this talks about the little things, in softball. And she strikes out. So Gifford K's, and in steps Liv Brennan, and she's playing third. So let's see what they do here. Do they try to do a squeeze bunt?
First baseman's back.
And she
tried
bunts
to
one.
push it.
She does, but that pitch was so high that they've got to be a little bit more selective. Now, whether or not Bedient is throwing a rise ball, I don't know what, but the pitches are pretty high. They might look good, you know what I'm saying? It just might be rising.
Oh,
And
geez.
she fouls one off the catcher's mask, and now it's an 0-2 count. Now, this is where, I think you got to be productive. So you have a runner or Coyle on third base with no outs. And what you want to do is, your job is,
She's got to come home.
right, one of the first two of these batters, whether it be Gifford or Brennan, has to get her home.
Oh,
And what an off-speed pitch there. And Brennan did not look good on that at bat, unfortunately. Way out on that one. It's a great pitch. So now we've got Mullen with a runner at third and 2 Ks now by Bedient to Gifford and Brennan. Another rise ball. So she's pitching a ton of these rise balls. They look really great coming in, and then they're really taking off towards the end. Oh, that was a high pitch, but the umpire called that one a strike. So now Kaylee is in a tough spot with an 0-2 count. And this is similar to that John Stark game, right, Bill, where she got stuck in these 1-2 and 0-2 counts. And she hits one to third, and that'll do it. So Tegan Coyle is left stranded at third base after a near home run. And kind of Goffstown goes down with 2 strikeouts and then a soft liner to third. So at the end of first, the game is scoreless. Yeah, so I think that's that's kind of the key here is that obviously you're not going to bunt with Gifford in the batter's box, right? Then they try a bunt with Brennan, but Brennan's at bat was not all that hot because she went after a bunt that was high, arguably high. And then she did get blown away by that off-speed pitch, which was pretty masterful, Bill. That was a great pitch.
Yeah.
And then Mullen has a soft liner to third. So, those are those opportunities that you gotta make them. You gotta at least get one run out of them. And that's what we talked about when we talked, in the pregame, is stringing the key hit. And let's not forget, Bill, right, that, with the wind blowing out, the wind blows out for both Windham and Goffstown. So this is something that Danny Vermette, she's in right field, she's got to be cognizant of, and Sayer Sorvell as well as Landry, that, these balls
going to carry.
These balls are going to carry. And if anything, maybe you want to play a little deeper than you normally do.
Well, if you think back to the girl in left field for Windham.
Yeah.
She was in shallow. She
Right.
started to go back.
And then it kept going.
kept going.
Right. It's easier to come in on the ball than it is to go back on the ball. And I would say that the only exception that I think for me, Landry plays an outstanding outfield. So I think she can go back on the ball pretty well. But the other two probably have to be a little more conservative and play deeper.
Milner.
So in steps Aslan Milner, the third baseman. Aslan Milner. And now, Bill, we're the same generation, I think, of baseball. I mean, remember a guy named John Milner? Remember New
Oh,
York
yeah.
Mets, right?
Yep.
Nice pitch by Gifford. She's not fooling around today.
Got her.
Yeah, that's her 4th strikeout in a row. You know, you can almost see it in her body language. She has like that look on her face too. It's like very gritty type of look when she's in a zone. And in step 16, and that's Jasmine Moskowitz, and that's a strike. And this is where I think Gifford is at her best when she gets ahead of the count. You know, when she gets ahead, fouled off for strike 2, she's very dominant. You know, but I think what happens every once in a while is she won't get a call by the ump, and then she starts to go into like a 3-0 count, 3-1, and that's when she walks somebody and things kind of just to regroup a bit. Another great pitch, and this should be an easy one for Brennan. Got to use 2 hands on that one, and she bobbled it, but she was able to catch it, so that's the second out.
Number 8, playing first base, Grace Bono.
Lefty.
And in steps the first baseman, Grace Bono,
So did we move anybody?
or Bill, you refer to her as Grace Bono. Low for ball. Bono means beautiful. Bono, Vox, U2, right, Butch? It's one of your bands. And Bono Vox is a beautiful voice. And he does have one.
Almost as good as mine.
And now we got a 1-1 count, and that's a little bit high to Grace Bono, and it's 2-1 count. And the catcher's on deck.
Got her.
Oh, nice pitch, but Bono hangs in there.
She almost hit it off the ground.
Yeah. Almost a golf shot. And that's, now we go to full count. We got 2 outs.
Got
And
her.
she goes down swinging. So
Racking up the K's.
she is. She's got 5 strikeouts through 2 innings. And Goffstown will head into the bottom of the 2nd inning with Alex Page, the catcher, leading off. So we've got a Memorial Day weekend in store coming up. And so I'm assuming that playoffs will begin after that.
First round is May 30th.
Yeah.
So it'll be Wednesday, May 30th will be the first round of the playoffs, and hopefully Goffstown will have a home game. I would think so, but you never know.
Say to get, just based on by winning one of these games, they'll get a first round game.
So we're going to do some of the Windham's defense here. So playing first base is Grace Bono. Second base is Renee Boudreau. The shortstop is Jasmine Moskowitz. And playing third is Milner. And we'll go left field, make it easier for Butch, Lindsay Murphy. The center fielder is Lily McGinnis. And the right fielder is Leighton Adult. And pitching is Abby Bediant. And the catcher is Michaela Panic. Did I say that right? Panic? And Paige fouls off. It's Bedient, I'm told. Is that right, Brad?
That's the way they told me.
Bedient. Okay.
I-E-N-T. B-E-D-I-N-T.
All right. That was a little bit of an off-speed pitch, right, Bill?
Yep.
But so far, Paige has done a pretty good job at the plate making contact. So let's see if she can remain true to that. fouls
Oh,
another
good.
one off. She's had some really tough at-bats. Her and
Yeah.
her sister, Bree Page, they have had a ton of counts that have gone like really deep, 8, 9 pitch counts, which is a sign of a good disciplined hitter.
Oh, tried that.
Yeah. And I can see why that pitch kind of throws you for a little bit of a loop because her delivery does not change that much. But yet she
The arm
takes about
speed.
the arm speed, I meant, yeah. Another one fouled
Good.
off. That's going to come off the roof. That is a savings to the taxpayer of about $9. And that's
Nice.
high for a 2-2 count. You know, Bill, I'd be remiss if I didn't say here that there's a lot of Goffstown softball alumni here today from the last couple of years. That's high. It's
Now
full
she-
count. So I know Taylor Gagnon was up here, and Taylor is at NHTI, and she was playing in, I guess, a World Series type game for NHTI. Oh, she chased what would have been a ball
my
4.
word.
So a very, I'd say, unusual because Alex Page has a real good eye, and she chased a high one. So now Kaylee Still, I'm sorry, yeah, Kylie Still. Kylie Still comes in. She's the designated player, so she'll be in essence, the DH. And her swing looked like it was like a half a swing there.
Looks like she tied herself up.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of pitches up high, like you said, the right wall.
That is
Ooh.
a beautiful pitch. Froze still on that one. She was frozen still on that one. And then she hammers her with a fastball. So that was really masterful pitching by Bedient on that one. She threw an off-speed pitch.
She's going to use that off-speed pitch
Right.
all day, I think.
Yep. And in steps Cervella. And she takes a strike. She laid off on that, but it came in, and it was a call strike. And that's outside to even the count. And on deck is number 6, Lendry. And she looks a strike right down the middle. I don't know if you can really do that. I think you got to try to be aggressive here. I think it's better to kind of go down, swing, and then.
Now we're in that two-strike
Well,
hole.
right. But now she has her command. This is Bedient. And now Saya hits one to third base, and a beautiful throw gets her out. So Cervella is able to get a bat on it, and she grounds out to third, and we'll head into the top of the third, still scoreless. So as I was saying before, Bill, we've got a lot of alums here. I see who else is here? Hannah Baldiga. She plays up in New England, UNE, University of New England. There's a lot of
Biddeford.
right in Biddeford. Right, there's a lot of this New England College, University of New England. Right, there's a lot of that stuff. Butch, that's all I'm saying. I get confused with all these names. I know you are. And then so Kaylee Schwinnard, she's here. She's not playing in college, but she goes to UNH. And Melissa Mullen, she's also at UNH. Allie Lombardi, is she here today? I'm not sure, but she was here the other day. 7, 8, 9. That's like that little joke, you know. I guess why is 6 so afraid or something like that? Because 7, 8, 9 or something like that, right? You've heard that one right before, Butch. Okay. With so many children, I thought you would have probably known that one.
Albany for Windham, number 19. Catching, Michaela, finish.
So this girl catches left-handed,
Yeah.
bats right-handed.
Again, it's this kind of. Usually, it's the other way around.
Mm.
The other day we had a
So,
left-handed.
so we got inside. We got, let's see, Brennan and Mullen also on the corners, and that's in there for a strike. So Gifford has had real strong command so far. I mean, she's pitching mostly strikes. She almost wanted that one, and that evens it out. I'd say this is a picture-perfect day here for softball. Can't get better weather. And we've had some rough days here. And a nice one right down the middle, fastball. See, this is an opportunity here where I think Gifford has to start to work on like an off speed, and she does right there.
Got her.
Wow, that was it.
Got her.
Might have been. I remember back in the day when our cameraman Butch Gifford, he would sit on a bucket and like literally catch like hundreds of pitches. So maybe he was sitting on a bucket the other day and catching off speed pitches. I don't know. That's another strikeout though for Gifford.
Strike.
That's her set. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1.
Strike.
And once again, we got Brennan about 4 steps in at third. And that one's low. 1-2 count. But as we saw in that first inning with Tegan Coyle,
Got her.
and she gets her as another K, this ball is traveling, folks. So, you know, a ball that's hit to the outfield could be trouble, and that's all it takes to get a 1-0 lead here. And it could come from anybody in the order, as you know. We've seen that before. So in steps Adol. She's the right fielder, number 21, and she quickly is in a 0-1 count. And that's another great pitch. Her mechanics today look awesome.
Ooh, almost.
Yeah, she went for another one of those like off-speed type pitches. But you know what I'm saying? Like she's leading with her shoulders, you know. And
my
that's
God.
it. So
Strikeout.
8 out of 9 strikeouts. Worthy of a Devrient Farms double ice cream cone today, I think. Yeah. So I felt bad, you know. So like I'm driving home the other day, right? And you know that left turn by the prison, you know, I'm going home, I got to go Henry Bridge, right?
Right.
And that's a light that, you know, they need to put a left turn signal there. There's no doubt. They definitely do. So I'm like, I get this car in front of me, and I'm like, please go. And it's just like, she's not going. So I have a little bit of a honk, you know. And then I think, oh, my God, that's Butch in the car, right? That's Butch's car. But it's not Butch. It's Shannon Gifford driving, and she's learning to drive. So now I feel like a complete idiot, right? I'm like, here I am honking, you know, a student driver, right? So it's like, oh, how shameful that was. And, you know, luckily, you know, Butch was really nice to me. Shannon flipped the bird. No, she didn't do that. She didn't do that. She's a good kid. She wanted to probably. She said, Dad, flip him the bird. But that did not happen. But, you know what, listen, even good people make bad choices and bad decisions, right? So I shouldn't have honked. But I did, and I wish I could take it back. But Shannon will be all the better driver because of it. So we got Carol Landry leading off, the center fielder.
The first baseman's deep.
And she takes strike one.
Last few games, she's been leaving a bat on her shoulder a lot.
All right, so we got Bree Page on deck, Kara Landry in the batter's box with an 0-1 count. And that's a tad bit high, and that's a 1-1 count. But I have to say that Obedient, the pitcher, she's pitching masterfully as well. She's not as dominant right now with her fastball as Gifford is, but she's pitching well. You know, she's mixing it up. And that's a pop-up to the shortstop, and that's out number one. So nice put out by Jasmine Moskowitz. So Bree Page, the second baseman, steps in. She's batting in the 9 hole. And on deck will be Coyle. And that's another pop-up, this time to third baseman.
Going to find it? Yeah.
And she does. And a nice put out by Milner. And that's her second of the game.
Right,
and now Coyle, who has the only hit of the game, a double to left field, which almost went out. It hit like midway on the fence, on the chain link fence out in left field. And that ball just carried. But right now there is no wind.
Oh.
That was a good pitch.
She's making them look great.
But this is what I think you need to do if you're gonna have any success pitching. You have to change your speeds.
Another one.
Yeah. And I think it's because you're right. Her delivery, her arm speed does not change a whole lot from whether it's her fastball or that changeup. And that's fouled. And she'll be careful with that bat because she could get someone hurt on that one. Gotta be careful where you throw it.
So she's thrown her 3 changeups.
Now she's gonna throw her heat.
Yep.
And she's gonna throw it right by her because you're waiting on the changeup. See how quick Coyle's bat is.
Nope.
Another one, and that one is tagged, but it goes foul.
That's a surprise. It's a 4th
Boy.
off speed.
But I think Tegan likes this leadoff spot, though. I think it's a good role for her.
Here comes.
And that's going to be another single beyond the outstretched glove of the second baseman,
Nice job.
Boudreaux. And that's another hit for Coyle.
Second hit of the game.
And she has the only 2 hits in this game. And in steps Gifford. And now let's see what they do with her. I don't pitch to Gifford. I walk her. I walk her. I walk her because I believe that you don't pitch to someone. I don't think you pitch to somebody who has over a 500 batting average. And I let somebody else beat me. But that's me. All right? And who's that great coach over at Milford who did the same thing? Jim Wright. There you go. Same thing.
Don't try to kill it, Shannon. Just try to make contact. She will never change her swing.
So Gifford is 0-1 with 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. This game is moving pretty quickly. It's a pitcher's battle.
Oh.
And now she's in an 0-2 hole. And here comes changeup time right now.
I'm not too sure that she'll see a changeup.
I think, or you're going to know the high one?
Yep.
Because she is chasing the high ones. And that's going to be hit to the shortstop. And nice job. A lot of pop-ups. A lot of pop-ups.
Not getting solid piece.
Yeah, so another pop-up to the shortstop. And that'll do it. So Tegan Coyle gets a single into center field. But she also is stranded once again as we head into the top of the 4th inning with a scoreless game. And this one is going really fast. This is one of these games where if like you order a pizza like right about now, you might just get it when the game is over. I think it's about, it could be another 30 minutes.
We said that about John Stark game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think if you just get a cheese pizza, that can happen. But if you get like toppings, you know, if you get like a specialty pizza, it takes a little bit longer, and then maybe we'll be all right. Maybe it's a 35-minute deal.
Hey, how about St. A's Division II World Series?
So our cameraman, Butch Gifford, yeah, you're right. So in town here, we've got St. Anselm College, and for the first time, I think in their program
Yes.
history, right, their women's softball team is headed to the Division II College World Series, and they had a win last Friday, I believe, right before their graduation weekend, and they advanced to the Division II College Softball World Series. And speaking of which, I've been watching some of that on Division One on ESPN, and I'll tell you something. The pitching, and just the bat speed too. I mean, in order to crank on some of these pitchers, I mean, you know, again, the field is what, maybe the line what is it, maybe 220, right?
Yeah.
Down the lines. So we're not talking about much more than the field here. But yet they're pitching a lot faster. So number 13, and this is leadoff hitter Renee Boudreau. She struck out her first at bat. She tries a bunt, but she bunted it foul to I think New Boston. I think went really far.
Maybe Windham's going to try some small ball.
And Brennan's in and Molin's in. And that one gets by the catcher. It doesn't matter, though. Nobody's on base. A 1-1 count. And this is what happened, I think, in that last game against John Stark, where they kind of caught up to the fastballs. And that's in there. That was a beautiful pitch at the knees. Now it's a 1-2 to Boudreau.
Got her.
And she gets her again. That was a great pitch. And in steps McGinnis, the center fielder. And so far, it's been the only
K-ville.
person. Yeah, it's been Kay. Another one. That was a good pitch, but it was outside. A little bit outside. And this is where I think, Bill, if you're like the fielders for Goffstown and you've got somebody who's just mowing, your pitcher's mowing down, you got to stay attentive here. And that's a strike for a 1-2 count. So this is where, you know, all the infielders and the outfielders have to pay attention because, you know, you kind of get almost lulled to sleep here when your pitcher is in such a groove.
Got her.
And that's another K. So McGinnis goes down swinging, and in steps Murphy, the left fielder.
Number 4, Lindsay Murphy.
That was her 10th strikeout out of 11 batters. And that's another strike. So, I mean, again, we don't keep stats here. We probably should. I wish we could have a statistician, but I'm telling you right now that Gifford has pitched probably about 80 to 85% strikes in this game. So ball. And when you have that type of control, you're going to be difficult to beat. And she bounced one off home plate for a 2-1 count. So we've got 2 outs, 2-1 count.
Alex goes out, gives the umpire time to regroup.
So I like the fact that, you know, Paige goes out there.
Be nice to clean the plate off, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Now, they've got housekeepers to do that now, Bill, right? And that's now a 3-1 count.
The catcher can ask to have the plate cleaned, you know?
Yeah.
Good pitch.
And that's going to be in foul territory.
Almost.
Danny Vermette almost had that one.
She had a good jump.
You know, again, and this is the odd thing with, again, it's probably something that Alex Page has done since she's been a catcher, but it is a bit odd is that she shows the target and then she pulls the target away.
Got her.
And that'll do it. So all K's again, her 11th strikeout out of 12 batters. So pretty awesome for Shannon Gifford. But Goffstown's got to get some runs here. You know, you can't. And I would say this is that Abby Bedient is pitching a real good game as well.
Oh my God, she's mixing the pictures up.
And what happened? Why did the scoreboard go out? Did you turn that off, Butch? And now we're cycling through.
The score is 0-0. It's the bottom of the fourth. There we go.
This
I don't
might
know.
this might be
I don't know what happened there with our cameraman. It was like a senior type moment where he just turned the scoreboard off.
You ought to be at a
Our
hockey.
viewers would never know.
You ought to be at a hockey rink and the scoreboard goes out and there's 6,000 people.
you know, this might be a one-run game today.
It could. But that's why I'm saying in that first inning, when you get Coyle over to third base with nobody out, and we can't even get a deep fly ball, we can't get a ground ball, fielder's choice, give up a run, because they're going to do that. They're going to give up one run. Nobody does that in the first inning going for home. So anyway, Brennan, she struck out. Again, that was a masterful pitching performance against Beatty and against Brennan in that first. And then she takes inside ball one. And that was, I think, it was that Brennan at bat where this is where she really came into her own in terms of throwing the off speed. Good chatter on the Goffstown bench. And she chased a high one. And again, that one would have been again, these are the little tiny little things, but that would have been a 2-0 count. Now it's a 1-1.
Got to be selective.
Yeah.
There it is.
But she is, I tell you something, I can tell you right now, she's off balance right now, Brennan, because that one was one she should have been able to drive.
Yep.
And because that was fat over the plate, and she barely got a bat on it. I see another off-speed pitch coming here.
Right.
And that's foul ball, but good job by Brennan there.
I told you she was going to come with it again. She'll probably do it again, too.
No, here comes smoke.
I think you throw heat right here. High heat. Right, I think you go high heat because Brennan has chased the high ones. And no one's really been able to hammer her except for Coyle. And that was a good eye by Brennan. So she's having a much better at bat. She's having a much, much better at bat.
She may go back to the changeup.
And she might, but you know, I like Brennan's approach this at bat.
Full count.
Right, and I think if you go back to that second pitch, right?
Yep. We could be on base.
We got to walk.
You're gonna.
I think she goes high heat again.
Yeah. Ooh, look at that.
And she grounds one in the dirt. So Brennan had an excellent at bat. So on that first inning, it was not such a good at bat. That one was a superb at bat by Liv Brennan, and she draws a walk. So now here comes Mullen. And Mullen, it was kind of a soft line out to third. Let's see if they bunt, try to get a bunt with Page on deck.
I think he's playing for one run.
Yeah. And I really like Wyndham's defense there. So in that particular case, I think was it Boudreaux, right? Second baseman. She runs over, covers first, while the first baseman charges. Oh. All right.
Don't stab at the ball.
That's one thing. I mean, I think that the Goffstown team, for the games that I've seen, could be bunting better. That's just, I'll put you that way.
Oh, no.
Get up, get up!
Go!
She's going to go all the way to third. She can go all the way home.
Come on, keep
It's
coming.
possible here.
Keep coming.
And they're going to send her home. Here comes the play at the plate. There is none. And on an error, Goffstown scores a run. So Mullen bunts the ball in the air. The catcher catches it, throws over. She's out. Mullen is out.
Yeah.
Mullen is out. I don't know why she's
Yeah.
on first base, but Mullen bunted the ball in the air. It was caught by the catcher, who then fired it over to first. The ball got by the first baseman and got by the right fielder, went all the way to the 195 marker, and that was where Brennan, who got a late jump actually, was able to score. So an unearned run brings in one for Goffstown. And Page hits one to the shorts, a second baseman, and she's
Nice
got it.
play.
Yeah. And now we've got Kylie Still. I keep pronouncing her name wrong. I apologize. She hits one. That's a fair ball. Whoa, that was over the third base. No.
No.
Come on, Butch, give that one to me. All right. Ooh. She's got two good swings right there. One of them she swung super early on the changeup, and then on that one she swung late, but she made contact. So now she's in an 0-2 hole.
And here comes a changeup.
Inside. And on deck is Sarvella. And that's going to be trouble.
No, she's going to get it.
She got it. So a nice job by Boudreaux, the senior. And Goffstown gets one run.
Without a hit.
It was a walk by Brennan. Then it was a bunt pop-up to the catcher. I don't think that ball went more than maybe 4 or 5 feet high in the air. Catcher catches it and then fires to first, thinking they can double up Brennan. But then it's an overthrow. And then the ball subsequently gets by the right fielder who's covering that. And that's really where you had the biggest error. Because there are overthrows at first base, but you can't let the ball get by it. So then the right fielder chases that ball into the corner, and then Brennan's able to hustle home.
And he didn't even make an attempt to come home, you know.
But, Bill, we've talked about this like on all of our broadcasts, is that with a runner at first base, it is incumbent upon the right fielder on all of those situations to break towards that line and to take the appropriate angle towards that line so that a play like that doesn't happen. And I didn't see it as it developed. Maybe I'm more preoccupied when we have Goffstown defenders in there. But I can tell you, like a player like, say, Danny Vermette, she sprints to that line when there's a runner at first. And I think that's the type of mentality that you have to have. And I think in that situation, that's where you get burned. And hopefully, for Windham, this is not a one-run game, and that's the only run that scores because, you don't want to see it, on an error per se. But here's what it is. So in steps, was it Milner?
Yes.
Milner, and again, everybody – with the exception of the on-deck batter, Moskowitz, has struck out. And Milner swings through that one. And again, Gifford's got great velocity today as we go into the top of the fifth. Off-speed pitch. And I like that because this is where I think if you just keep throwing the heater, they will catch up to it. And she's starting to mix it up. 0-2 count. And the plate was cleaned off, by the way.
It's,
That's okay, though. That's a good waste pitch. All right, so this is Aislinn Milner, third baseman. She's got a 1-2 count.
got it.
And that's a pop-up. That is sky high to Coyle.
Okay.
And that's a put out, so it's a pop to short.
That's what you call it, Major League pop-up.
That one, and this is why it's so important where you got to wear sunglasses. I'm a little surprised that Brennan doesn't wear them playing third, because in this Goffstown field, the sun can be a real
Nope.
beast.
No clouds today either.
Yeah. So this is Moskowitz, and she takes first pitch ball, and she popped to third. So she popped to Brennan for the only other non-strikeout in this game. She fouls one out back behind the plate, out of play. 1-1 count. And that's another pop-up.
Oh, here we go. She can't find it.
That was a second baseman's ball, I think.
Nobody called.
But no, there was no communication on that ball whatsoever. And don't get me wrong, that's a long ways for Paige to
Paige.
get it. And I think in those situations, like maybe that's something that Mullen can. I mean, that would be a tough play. There's no doubt about it. But
Right. 'cause
is it possible for a first baseman to make that play? Yes. But it's a tough one. That ball's rocketed. That's going to be a double. And Lendry brings it in, hits the cutoff, and that's a double for Moskowitz. One out here.
She got all of that one.
She did.
Now what do we do? Is she going to bunt her over to third?
I would. I bunt over.
Yep.
I bunt over because then you hope for a wild pitch or something.
And we're too deep at short.
Yeah. Yep. And that's coming right back to us. And Brad was trying to make a play on that one.
I didn't want to
But-
fall out the window, though. If they notice now, they're making contact.
Oh, so it's an 0-1 count with one out in the top of the fifth inning. And that's in there for a high strike. Gifford got lucky on that one. I thought that one was a little bit above the letters. An 0-2 count. And I like that. This is a good call by Coach Dave Hedge talking to his player. That was a high strike. And sometimes you got to let your player know that, say, listen, don't chase, that was a high one. I'm not upset about that. And because you got to protect the plate here. And now you can't get, gun shy in terms of, not going after it. So I really like what Coach Hedge did there.
I like when Coach Hedge ran up the scores. He might be bunting on strike two.
Big pitch, Shannon.
And again, this is where, we don't see it here because we only have one camera on this game, but this is where Bree Page has to be she has to go back to second base on that so that they don't take such a big lead. And that's going to be Lendry's ball if she can get to it, and she does. She covers so much territory. She has such a great break on the ball. She struggled at the plate this year. There's no doubt about it. I don't think you're going to find a finer center fielder than Kara Lendry in Division II.
You notice they're hitting her now.
Oh boy.
And
Thank you.
she goes after a high pitch there. So it's 2 outs, an 0-1 count. and they're starting to get a piece of the ball against Gifford. So in those first 4 innings, they weren't getting anything. It was Kville, and now they're starting to put a bat on it. You see how, Bill, you see how late Bree Page is in terms of even getting – she does the same thing when she plays the outfield. She pauses. As soon as that ball hits the catcher's glove, she's got to be running over, and you'll see that she's got like a 1 to 2 second pause. Oh, this is going to score a run, and she got to hit the cutoff. Danny Vermette almost made a spectacular play, but that's going to even the score here on a late swing double. But a great effort by Danny Vermette, and that ball was on the line at the time of that hit. So that evens it up 1-1. And this is where I go over, if I'm Page, I go over to Gifford and say, okay, we're good. 2 outs.
Is this a sub?
I didn't get the first name. I think it's Lexi.
Nikitas. Yeah, Nikitas is at the plate. And that's in there for a strike. I mean, not that your catcher's going to fire it over to second, but you just got to keep that runner close.
Yep.
You know, if you watch, she steps to first. Page does, this Bree Page, and then runs to second. And that's going to see, this is where you get in trouble. Now, Windham is 60 feet away from taking the lead here. So, you know, any type of wild pitch, pass ball, this is where Alex Page is, and got to be on the same page with Gifford. And what a great stop by Alex Page. That saved a run. 2-2 count to Nikitas. Runner at third for Windham. And that ball is hit to the shortstop. Coyle fires it over. And Mullen cannot make the catch. And I don't know if that was a stretch or not, but she couldn't make the catch, and now that's going to be an error. And Goffstown now trails 2-1. So in steps Leighton Adult. And again, Vermette has got to now, with a runner at first base, she's got to go towards that line. You see how the difference with her? She sprints.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Coach Matt Fleming, I call a timeout right now, and I think what's happened here is that your team does not seem like they're in this game right now. And Gifford calls it, and that'll do it. So an earned run and an unearned run, and Windham now takes a 2-1 lead as we head into the bottom of the 5th inning. So, you know, Goffstown really hasn't done much offensively. 2 hits by Tegan Coyle, and that's it. And they scored on a walk by Brennan and then an error. So it's not like Goffstown has been stroking the ball either. So they've got 3 innings now to put up at least 1 run to tie it. Hopefully another one to take the lead. And who's going to be leading off for us? That would be it's going to be Sarvella, I believe.
No, she was.
Yeah, Sarvella, because Kaylee Still was the last batter. Kylie Still. Yeah, it's Sarvella, I think, leads off 16.
Got to play with some emotion. I'm sorry.
No, I think you're right. And I mean, like even on that last play over here with Alex Page, I mean, the ball, she lost the ball, but it was like there's nobody pointing. And again, this sense of urgency didn't seem to on all the players, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and at first base, if you don't think you're going to catch
And
the
come
ball,
off the bag.
come off the
right,
bag.
right. And then you can almost
Right,
tag. You can almost
right.
tag. Yeah. But you got to keep in mind that Mullen is not a natural first baseman. Okay, she pitches. I think it's her. I don't know if it's her first year playing first, but it's not her natural position. And that is I thought that was a high outside pitch, but it's a strike to Sarvella, who grounded to third in her first at bat.
Oh my God! Loop! What a loop!
But this is where I think, like in batting practice, you got to shorten the swing up, you know. And she's lucky on that one. That one looked pretty good from here. 1-2 count. And now when you're in 1-2, this is where you want to choke up and really shorten up your swing.
Change it.
So in steps Landry with one out in the bottom of the fifth inning. Great game here in Goffstown. They had a 1-0 lead on an error by Windham, and then in this top of the fifth, Windham was able to get a double, and then what was it, like another single?
Yeah.
And then it was an error. It was a
Infield error.
infield error. I mean, it was a tough throw by Coyle, but I really couldn't see from my angle whether or not that was she could have stretched for it. It was hard to see. But you are right, Bill. I think on that one, you got to come off the bag if you can't catch it, you know. That ball's hit right at her. So Landry hits it well, but right at the right fielder. So a good hit, though, by Landry. Be happy, put a smile on your face. That ball was tattooed. But, again, right at the right fielder. So here comes the second baseman, Bree Page, with 2 outs. And Bree Page is the number 9 hitter for Goffstown. On deck is the leadoff hitter, Coyle. And and that's another one where it's kind of like a looping swing. And that's where you're going to get pop-ups. So the 0-2 count now to the second baseman. This is where she's been in this position before, Bill, though, and she battles, you know. So hopefully she can do it here.
You got to turn your hands over. They're looping like this. You turn your hands over. Good eye.
You recall this? What she did, I think, was it John Stark or the game before that, where she had a really great at bat. You know, where she battled back and drew a walk.
Change it.
And that's foul out of play. You know, so you look at that top of the fifth, right? So you had a great double right in the gap, no big deal. And then you had that single where Vermette had a glove on it. I don't even know too many people that would have even had a glove on that, but she couldn't catch it. Had she caught that one, that would have been amazing. And that's going to be to the right fielder, and she catches it nonchalantly. I don't like to see that, but she does. She catches it. And that'll do it for Goffstown in the bottom half of the fifth inning. They don't put up any runs, so it's now Windham 2, Goffstown 1, heading into the top of the sixth inning. And this is where the pressure really has to mount on Goffstown. They cannot put runs on the board, and they really need to make sure that they don't give up anymore. I think games like this is a classic softball game, 2-1 game, game you actually like to see. And when you get into these types of games, and they played one against Milford, who was arguably the best team in the state, it just takes a couple of errors or a couple of, like, Matt Fleming calls it playing a clean game. Clean game to him means no errors. And when you can play a clean game, you can be in almost any game. But when you have a throwing errors, a couple of mental errors, it's challenging. You can't ask a pitcher to strike out every batter. It's just not feasible, okay? And, as dominant as Shannon Gifford has been in this game and throughout the season, you need defense behind you. And that play to Coyle, again, she's not your typical shortstop. Justine Watterson is out sick today. But it was a play. It was a makeable play. And again, you need to be clean on that. So Gifford has her first pitch is high to Boudreaux. She's the leadoff hitter.
2 strikeouts.
But I thought she had a better at bat the second time around. I'd like to see Gifford be helper more when she's in the circle in terms of helping the catcher in certain situations. She focuses so much on throwing that sometimes that's hit sharply to Landry, who's right there. So they're starting to get around on her now.
Yep.
But again, as pitcher, you're kind of like you gotta help out the defense too, especially on like pass balls. And now McGinnis, and she fouls one off.
Find the ball.
And McGinnis has had her first 2 at-bats have not been all that great. She's chased some pitches. Let's see if she can get a better approach to this at-bat. And she is your number 2 hitter. So this is, she's not playing, not batting 2 for no reason here.
Good pitch.
So it's a 1-2 count to McGinnis.
Oh.
And Gifford short arms that one into the dirt. Let's see if my friend Brad Parkhurst remembers this one, right? So remember that movie Top Gun?
Yep.
Right? Remember Tom Cruise, right? We know that. That's a high one for a 3-2 count. So the actress who played his love interest, the flight instructor lady, was Kelly McGinnis. Remember that, Brad, right?
But I don't remember her name.
Yeah. And Lily McGinnis pops one out. Again, but a much better at bat here for Lily McGinnis. That was one of my favorite movies, Top Gun. I love that movie. And that one was a nice pitch. Froze McGinnis for
Inside.
her. That was McGinnis' 3rd strikeout of the game. And now Lindsay Murphy, the left fielder. And now there's 2 outs in the top of the 6th inning. And that's a ball. Obviously, you're going to have Tegan Coyle leading off in the bottom of the 6th inning, and I'm not going to have her bunt, but you got to start thinking about bunting, either to get on or to advance runners. That's 2 balls, no strikes.
They had a girl warming up there too. Pitcher. I didn't see who it was at this time.
So that's 3-0 count. This is the first time that Gifford has had a 3-0 count the entire game. And that's a testament to her control today. And now you'll see number 4 with a bat on her shoulder. She will not swing this one. Yeah, you don't swing at that. You got to.
She may just take another one, too.
I would. Because it's all about base runners now, And that's going to be a tough play.
Good play.
but she doesn't say anything. At least I didn't hear. I got it, and Coyle was going after it too, and Landry was going after it. But good play by Paige. She's smiling, glad they didn't crash into each other. And we go into the bottom of the 6th inning, and we're gonna have the top of the order with Coyle, Gifford, and Brennan. And this is where we got to do some damage if you're Goffstown. You might not get another opportunity here.
You know, Windham doesn't really impress me that much. The record's decent.
The record is similar to Goffstown's,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. I mean, they've only similar records. And if you look at who they've won and lost, granted now, Windham has played like the likes of Manchester West twice. They played Trinity twice, you know. If you look at the however, the teams that they have beaten and the teams that they have lost to have been very similar to Goffstown's. So, and with a 2-1 game, you can kind of see why. I think these teams are pretty evenly matched.
Leading off the Goffstown, 12, Keegan Coyle.
Again, aside from that throwing error by the catcher, which was kind of a fluke little play, when the ball went all the way to the corner, you know, by the 195 sign, Windham has played a very good game. The pitcher, Abby Bedient, has pitched very well. With the exception of Teagan Coyle, no one's gotten a hit. And Coyle takes a pitch inside for ball 1. So this is it. You're looking at this is the offense right here for Goffstown. 2 hits in her first 2 at bats. Third baseman's playing 2 steps in for Windham.
She's got to get on base.
So be patient.
One thing I'm so proud of Teagan this year is that her at bats in the first 2 to 3 games did not all that good. She was chasing high pitches but now she's really come into her own. She's comfortable, and I love the fact that she's leading off. And she hits another single, and she I call that one. That was the Merrimack Tomahawk chop swing, and she was able to get another hit. So she's 3 for 3. She has more hits than I think than both teams combined. I think here. And now Gifford, who can help her own cause here by getting on base.
Got to get on base.
And she gets underneath that one. That's going to be caught. God.
That's a big out.
It is a big
That's
out.
a real big out.
But she swung at the first pitch, and I think I don't condemn her for doing that because she was getting into these tough counts. But by the same token, she got underneath that one. So listen, good players sometimes have not such great at bats. That one was not that great, but it's life. We move on. And that's going to be a tough play.
Keep coming.
There's nobody at third.
There she is.
And she's out.
What a great play by backing up.
Left fielder.
Left fielder came in out of nowhere. There was nobody there originally. And then she came in. So Goffstown tries to go first to third on a bunt. And Coyle could not get there. And now we head into the top of the 7th inning. But I do like the aggressiveness of Goffstown there. I think you got to do that. You got to make Windham make the play there because you're down by 1 run. Your bats have not really been doing much for you. And Coach Fleming's idea there is, okay, I bunt over, and I get Coyle to third, and maybe I get a wild pitch or something funky, and we can get a run in. But that's great execution by Windham on that first to third play. All right, so now we're going to head into the top of the 7th, and Gifford is going to have to shut down Windham once more. So in steps
Moskowitz.
and she doubled, right?
Yeah.
She doubled her last at bat.
Scored
So
the
she
first
also
run.
right. So she popped to third and doubled, popped to third in her first at bat and then doubled. So she's the only one who's really put a bat and popped out of play. So she's measured Gifford pretty well here. I think you got to be careful with this one. And that's a pop-up to the second baseman. And then
All
she
right.
made that one look a little tougher than it needed to be. And now that's your first out of the inning.
Number 16, Jasmine Moskowitz.
And in comes Moskowitz. No. That's Moskowitz? I apologize.
Yeah.
The other one was Milner.
Yeah.
So this is the one who doubled.
Right.
Right. I apologize before. Got to be careful to her. And maybe that's the philosophy here. Don't give her anything to hit because she got a double off you. But I think if you take that approach and just throw her a lot of like low or high balls and see if she chases them. And that could be trouble.
Oh, nice play.
But
Nice
Coyle
play.
tracks back nicely on that one.
Number 8, Grace Bono.
Catcher's up.
And that's what she struck
No.
out. What,
Yeah.
2 outs here?
Yep.
And that ball's hit to Vermette, and she's right there. And that'll do it. So Goffstown heads into the bottom of the 7th inning. They trail by 1 run. And we're going to have Mullen leading off in the bottom of the 7th. Put your rally caps on, folks. Goffstown needs to get 1 to tie and 2 to win. And let's see what Coach Fleming is talking about. So it's interesting to see what Coach Fleming's going to do here. So he's going to have Mullen, Page, and Still, and after that it's Sarvella. He's got Peterson on the bench and Baldiga, and he has them if he needs them to hit. The key is, you know what, I heard Coach Fleming just talk to the players just now. He's like, we just need to get 1 to tie. We can go in extra innings. He goes, let's just get 1 to tie it. But we got to be determined here. We got to want it.
This is the key batter.
I
Right
agree,
here.
because you get 1 batter on, and then it changes the complexity, and it makes the pitcher think. It makes everybody think when there's a runner on. The other key, Bill, is you got to put runners. You got to put balls into play. And Mullen takes ball 1. A lot of chatter here on the Goffstown bench. I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard this in a long time. And she chases a high one for a 1-1 count.
It's almost like a wave at the.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to swing at that, then take a swing at it. Don't just. That was almost like a princess wave. Royal wedding. And that ball is stroked. That's going to be out of play, but a good, solid bat on ball for Mullen. Now she needs to straighten this out, you know.
You realize there's 2 strikes
Yeah.
too.
And this
Get
is
that
where
bat
you
off
can.
the
This is
shoulder.
where you cannot take a strike down,
Yep.
a call strike 3. Nobody takes a call strike 3 here.
Change it.
And that ball's hit to center
She
field.
came in.
And
got
nice
it.
job by the center fielder, but Mullen puts a bat on. That's good. And now Alex Page, is it Bree Page or Alex Page, the
Alex.
catcher, with still on deck. So Goffstown is down to their final 2 outs. There is no runners on base. And that's outside and high for a ball 1.
Didn't she have a good graded bat?
Kylie still on deck. That is ball 2. I think the hardest thing in sports is to close out, Bill.
Yeah.
And, with only a 1-run lead, there's pressure on everybody at this particular point. Pitcher, batter. That's popped up. That's playable, and it's out of play. So it's a little bit deep. But look at Rachel Boudreau. You see how fast that she got over there?
Renee?
They're off at the crack of the
Yeah.
bat. Change it.
I think you give her a changeup here. And that ball is going to be caught by the center fielder. And Goffstown is 1 out away. So unless Kylie Still can poke one out here, we are down to our last at bat. Sarvella is on deck.
Kylie, Phil.
So number 3, Kylie Still.
Oh my. Come on, drive the ball. Drive it.
And that'll do it. So Windham takes down Goffstown in a 2-1 barn burner type game, right? That was a tough loss for Goffstown. But you know what? The key there was just Windham just played a little better today. I think one of the issues for Goffstown is it's their hitting. They
Yeah.
are not hitting the ball, and except for Tegan Coyle went 3 for 3 today,
Right.
and she had the only hits for the team. Brennan was able to score with a walk, but they couldn't get on base. They couldn't advance runners. There was a gutsy call by Coach Matt Fleming to try to bunt and a first to third type play in that bottom half of the 6th that just didn't work out. But a good gutsy call on his part. But you can't do much unless you hit. And this team is unfortunately right now is just not hitting. And this pitcher for Abby Bedient, a very good pitcher, but not, I wouldn't say dominant, but she mixed it up really well. I mean, fastballs, but a lot of change-ups, which kept the Goffstown batters off balance. But again, just could not string hits
Right.
when you needed them together.
We were off stride on
Yep.
most of them. The only one, as you said, was Coyle, and she drove the ball.
Yeah.
Look at a lot of the other outs were on the right side of the field or to center. We didn't drive the ball well. But this is, you said it, this is the problem. We've got to get some people that can get on base, get some hits, and we also have to eliminate some of the I call it lackadaisical play.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that, but I think, let's give credit where credit is due. Shannon Gifford had a really great pitching performance, and like I said, I think it was in that 5th or 6th inning. You cannot expect your pitcher to strike out every single batter, and it's not fair. It's not fair to that pitcher, and you got to make some plays in the field, which I think Goffstown had a good game, but if you can't score runs, which is what we're struggling with right now, then that's what becomes the issue. So with that, the next game that Goffstown will play will be away in Sauhegan. I think was that Wednesday, and then Friday. I apologize. And then after that, the playoffs start, and we don't know. It could, because of our record, it could be home, it could be away. We're not really sure.
I think they have to win at Sauhegan
Yeah.
To win at Sauhegan.
to come home.
Yeah, so from what I'm hearing, and Sauhegan has a pretty tough team too.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to win at Sauhegan just to get a home playoff game. That could be a tall order for Goffstown. I think a win today might have solidified at least one home game, but that didn't occur. So with that, again, Scott Rose joined by Bill Ruel, and have a good day, folks. Take care.